Hello, ready? This is AJ Pushback Darkness. Welcome in. Does anybody say welcome in anymore? No, I don't think so. That's what my wife says. So thanks for joining me. We have a good stream for you tonight. We've got a lot of interesting things. Put me on in the background while you're working out, while you're cooking some food, while you're sitting in the hot tub. I know who you are. So check this out. We recently were watching the confirmation hearings, and Robert F. Kennedy was getting grilled, and it was interesting. Bernie Sanders' little onesie fit and some other things, but I'm not sharing that tonight. What I did want to do is, as you trace the numbers and you start looking at these senators, so I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, give me a list of the senators that had questioned RFK Jr. And here's who popped up. And I then went in to find out, and I found a post on X that talked about the amount of money that these senators are getting from Big Pharma. Now, as you know, RFK Jr. wants to push back on Big Pharma, get them to comply with a bunch of things. He's pro VAC, but he's also anti VAC on things. So there's a lot of things that would really push on them. And so check this out. So Bernie Sanders was one of the biggest critics at this recent confirmation hearing, and he manages to get almost $2 million from Big Pharma. And Elizabeth Warren, again, another big push on RFK Jr., and she gets $1 million too. And so there's, this list of people here. So you've got Tim Kaine, Chris Murphy, Tammy Baldwin. Let's see, Tim Kaine, Chris Murphy, Tammy Baldwin. So none of them on there. So that's good. And then, so let's look up here. Hansen, Smith, and Rosen. So there's Hassan, Smith, Rosen. So obviously a few of them in there. And I think Whitehouse maybe was in there too. Maybe not. But, you get the point. So that's the whole thing, is they're pushing a different agenda, obviously. And it was an interesting press conference the other day. Now, while it was a bad situation, you may have seen there was a crash last night. If you follow me at all, I do like news bulletins sometimes if news will come out. So please like and subscribe, and that would be great. And what I do is I'll put out shorts if there's some sort of news or something that's coming out. So if you have me on the little bell to remind or to show when I release something, I'll let you guys know if I see anything that's out there. But President Trump appeared in the Oval Office to talk about the recent crash, and he went through and he started talking about what in his mind were some of the reasons why it happened. So let's check this out, and then we'll chat about it.
It's all under investigation.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They used companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay. It's all under.
Yeah. So think about it. Now, if you're in the air and you're with your family or by yourself, do you want the best of the best? Of course you do. I mean, that's just a given. You want the best person that is the best trained, best, filling about 9 other bests. You want someone that is hyper trained. Would you feel uncomfortable if I told you, hey, by the way, a lot of people have been hired under equity and diversity that aren't very good, or maybe were just hired because of that? Would that bother you? I mean, most normal people, they'd be like, yeah, I bring in the best, when it comes to things like that, and it doesn't seem to bother them. So, you sit there and you think about it. We're starting to see a lot of companies push back on that, which is great. So a couple of heavy moments. So I wanted to lighten up a little bit. So check out these kids. They are going through, they're reading some things, and listen to their response. It's kind of funny.
T-O-R-S-C-H-E. T-R-A-V. Is this V?
Uh-huh.
E-R-S-E.
What does that spell?
Car.
Spell it.
R-A-M-E-N.
What does that spell?
Noodles.
Noodle.
N-T-E-L-L-A.
What's the word?
Peanut butter.
I like the accent too. Peanut butter. Yeah. So we've got this one. When I saw this one, anything that I see, I always take with a grain of salt. But with the amount of stuff that's been coming up lately, and the stuff that's going on with some of these labs and how they're manipulating things, and then we know the C and the I and the A, they like to do things. When they're always trying to destabilize different parts of the world. So this lady here, she mentions, and I'll play about a minute of it and then we'll chat, but she mentions the whole idea of weaponized ticks, fleas, and mosquitoes as part of Black OPS in regards to some of the things that these agencies are doing. So listen to this.
And I was going to walk away and get on with my life. But then two things happened within the space of a month. And I said, I can't let this story go. I just have to know what is really going on with this disease. And one was I met a CIA Black Ops guy who said in 1962, the weirdest thing he'd ever done in his whole crazy apocalypse now career was dropping poison ticks on Cuban sugarcane workers. That was Operation Mongoose. So that was the first evidence that we had dropped ticks on
So have you guys ever heard of that? I have never heard of that. Ever, never.
a foreign country as a bioweapon. And then the other thing is one of my filmmaker friends went out to Willy Burgdorfer, and in a very long interview, at the very end, he said, yeah, when I investigated the Lyme disease sickness in the late 70s, early 80s, there was another organism there. It wasn't just Lyme that was making people sick. It was, and I was told to cover it up. It was probably a rickettsia. He didn't release all the information, but what he said was confirmed by copies of his lab books and subsequent interviews that I had with him.
What, and
So-
pardon my ignorance, what is the disease you described, the other one? Rickettsia?
So it's a rickettsia. It is the same organism that causes Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and that's the most deadly tick-borne disease in the United States. It also was.
So I'll stop it there, but you guys get the idea. So you've got an organization in the U.S. government that is manipulating things, and that's in the 60s. I mean, my goodness, for 60 years later, how far advanced and what are they dropping on people? And we probably don't hear about it. Nobody hears about it. It's black op type stuff. But if they've been doing that since the 60s, they've got to be doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's concerning. And President Trump here, he's talking about workers. If you are a stay-at-home worker and you work for the federal government, guess what? You have to go back to work. Listen to this.
Because as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed, because as everyone knows.
So does that bother anybody? Are you guys bothered by that? I'm not bothered by that. You sit there and you think that there are so many government employees and they're all making government pensions and government salaries, as well as, all the benefits and things that go along with that. And they're sitting at home. And I was able to talk to somebody this last weekend, and they had mentioned, because they work with one of our Air Force units in California, and they had mentioned that they have high quality people that are in other areas that work remotely. So I'm sure there needs to be some tweaking of this, because if you live in Florida and you're going to help, NASA, or you're going to help the Space Force, or you're going to help a company that's in another area, yeah, there can be some restrictions lifted. But it sounds like for the most part, I think it's a good thing. You get the employees, get them back to work if they're sitting at home. But you would think really no big deal. But the amount of people that were dropping posts on all the different platforms, and they're going ballistic, like they have to go back to work, like it's the worst thing ever. So this is one of the reasons why this is your public service announcement. Never dress up like a mermaid, and never jump into a big giant aquarium. And if it has big fish, then that even makes it worse. So look at this, the stuff of nightmares. And the people scream. We got to watch it again. One more time. That poor girl. Oh. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that one. You imagine you get your daughter there, and she's, likes Little Mermaid, and you're like, oh, Little Mermaid just get eaten. Yeah, that's crazy. So this one here was pretty insane. Recently, there was a lot of California wildfires, and they had different areas where they were trying to evacuate people. And this is a really sad story, but with a good ending, because they actually found this person. But check this out. They actually left this lady in the care facility, in the senior facility. It's like, oh no.
Sheriff's Department, anybody inside? Just monitor looking out the windows to see where the fire. Oh shoot.
That's sir. Copy that, sir. I'll give you a call right now.
Oh my gosh. Sheriff's Department, anybody inside?
Fire was
Anybody
closed.
evacuate? Hello?
Hello? Where you at?
Where are you?
Hello? Where are you? Oh, hi. Okay, perfect. Is there anyone else with you?
No.
Okay.
Where were you at?
What?
Which room were you from?
I've been trying to find a way out.
Let's get you out of
Yeah,
here.
let's get you out. Okay.
Where do I go? But don't lose me.
I promise I
We
won't.
won't lose you, don't worry, okay? Thank goodness. We've been yelling. Did you hear us?
I didn't hear. I'm deaf,
Okay.
and I couldn't charge my hearing aids. I'm 100.
Dang. So she said she's 100. So thank God for our first responders, for our sheriff and our fire departments, who actually go back into these areas that are, pinned off from fires, and they go and they check these buildings at their own risk, and save this 100-year-old lady. I don't know if this facility was burned down or not, but at the very least, she's in there with no food and no help. At 100 years old, that's pretty scary. Recently, there was a big boom that hit the stock market. A lot of the tech stocks, they started to go down, and there was a big issue. Well, the gist of the story was that this Chinese developer that had developed a new AI program had thrown that out on the market, and then also had said that they were able to train this AI program for about $6 million, which I guess in the AI realm is very, very inexpensive, because OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, they said, well, we were able to train our model for almost $18 billion. So 6 million, 17 billion. Huge difference. So they had come out with that, and then it had literally rocked the stock market in regards to a lot of these tech stocks. And if you look now, if you even want to go check this out, you can go and download DeepSeek, which I wouldn't recommend because it is a Chinese app, but you can go on your browser and you can, do it just as well. There's also another one, and it just got popped out today, and it is called Qwen. So it's QWEN, and I'll show you that up in the thing up here. I'll open another tab. So Qwen 2.5. Now that one came out too, and open the wrong thing. You know how that goes. Qwen. Well, it's in there. But yeah, Quinn 2.5. So you can go and check that out as well. But you know, those programs coming out end up being a lot cheaper than ChatGPT. And if you can train these AI programs for less, potentially you could be looking at China really swinging the AI in their direction. So another story here, I was watching this. This is from the doctors. And this lady actually removed her eyes. I didn't even know that was legal, but she decided she didn't want to see. And in regards to some of the stuff that comes out with people and their preferences and things they think they are, at what point do we intercede and say, no, that's just not right? So listen to what this lady says.
Do you have any regrets about taking your own vision or the process with which you did take your own vision?
I don't have any regrets taking my vision. I believe I should have been born blind, and I'm happy the way I am. I do have some regrets about the way I did it, but in the end, I'm happy the way I am.
Dr. Phil, with all due respect to Jewel, but I am having a really hard time sitting so close to someone who traumatized herself, who damaged herself. We took an oath in medicine to help people. We see horrible tragedies every single day as doctors, and people who would give anything to go back and restore their vision, their health. My heart is beating out of my chest. I can't even make sense of the emotions I'm feeling, because to hear someone say, I've always felt I should be blind. Well, I've always felt I should be the Queen of England, but I'm not going out to become the Queen of England. Well,
so I'm glad she confronted her with that. But yeah, for those of you who deal with issues where you feel like in the body that you're in, the things that you're dealing with are beyond you and you want to change those things, I would suggest talking to people and reaching out and really trying to figure out if what you're going to be doing or what you're thinking about doing is healthy or right for you. So another thing in regards to health, now my wife and I have been doing a lot of research. Actually, she's been doing research and I've been the product of, accepting that information. But she's been finding out that there are a lot of issues when it comes to the plastic that is coating the inside of paper cups. And then she even did some more research and found out that any plastics, like if you're going to the store and you're buying milk and it's in a plastic container, those plastics, if left in that container long enough, the plastic that touches the milk or whatever will actually leach into the milk. So check this out in regards to Starbucks cups, but it's concerning because the human body can't get rid of plastics. And we're finding a rise in issues with Alzheimer's and different diseases and cancers and stuff. And it makes you sit there and wonder, is it all these things that we're putting into our food as well as the way we're packaging and serving our food? So check this out.
Get your coffee in at Starbucks. Let's talk about those.
A paper cup, by nature, should absorb water. If it's not absorbing water, then that means there must be a barrier in between the paper and the liquid. And that barrier is polyethylene plastic. A study found that in 15 minutes of contact with hot liquids, leached 25,000 microplastic particles into your cup. But no one's questioning this. No one's really thinking about it because it's just part of our daily lives.
Are we very good at metabolizing plastics?
No, plastic is a foreign body. It's a foreign particle. In fact, it'll break down into nanoplastics. And nanoparticles in general have the issue of being able to penetrate cell membranes. So it can penetrate very deeply into the cell. It can cause inflammation. Your body doesn't know how to deal with it. It's a foreign object. So you'll get the inflammatory response when you encounter these. But to make things worse, the microplastics themselves are a foreign body, but they also release plasticizer chemicals when they're in contact with your body. And they can also carry toxic chemicals into your body.
The fact that they can basically invade and integrate into our cells, and you are what you eat. Are we turning into real life Barbie and Ken dolls?
We could be, because there's actually microplastics that have been detected in human lung, blood, and placenta. And who knows how much of this is getting into babies? Are babies being born with plastic in their bodies? I would guesstimate yes.
You guys, if you drink Starbucks, watch
that's tremendously concerning. You sit there and you think about it, and people are drinking Starbucks. There, oh, you have a Starbucks by your house, and as we drive by, there's person after person in the driveway, or drive-through, trying to get drinks. And most of them are just trying to get a coffee, and they don't even sit there and think about the layer, the spray layer that's on the inside of that cup. But that's concerning. So if that bugs you, if you saw that video and you're just like, okay, that concerns me as well, then I would suggest put in some research time and maybe check some of that out. Because while we probably won't be able to prevent all of it, I think there might be a way to prevent some of it. So maybe hopefully you guys, that's good information for you. Another thing here, we have had a lot of talk about people that are here that are not supposed to be here, that have come from other places. I'll just say that, because if not, the YouTube algorithm will put the kibosh on me. And speaking of algorithm, if you could do me a favor, comments down below down there and interaction down there back and forth with me. If you leave a comment, I will comment with you and talk to you. But that kind of comment back and forth actually helps the algorithm and pushes the video out more and more and more. So I would appreciate it. We can go back all day if you want. We can go back and forth. But only if stuff is interesting to you. I'm not trying to get you to spam the chat, but check this out. So this is the mayor of Minneapolis. And you would think that the first thing he'd say is that when it comes to the people that are here and they're not supposed to be here, the biggest concern is to have safe streets and safe families. And we want to do things right. And if they're bad, we want them out of here. Listen to what he says. It doesn't quite sound like that.
Directly to people who are undocumented. We love you. We care about you. In the city of Minneapolis, we will stand up for you, and we will do anything in our power to help. Because you're not an alien in our city, you're a neighbor. Now, in Minneapolis, we have what is called a separation ordinance. And that separation ordinance states clearly that our city officials, our police officers and beyond, will not be gathering information showing who is and who is not documented. We do not ask the question with regard to immigration status, and because we haven't asked the question, we don't have any data to show documentation status in our city. Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal law enforcement around federal immigration law. We enforce state and local laws here in Minneapolis, and we will do so to the best of our ability. But as for cooperation with ICE, the answer is no.
So I wonder how the police officers feel about that. It probably, I would assume for some of them, it just frustrates them because they know they've got bad elements there. And they have just been told to white flag all that, leave them alone, don't do anything. That's got to be really frustrating. I know several police officers, I know sheriffs, and these guys and gals, they want to do the right thing. They want people to have safe streets, and they want your family safe, and they would love to be able to send people that are not supposed to be here and are causing trouble. Those would be the first ones that they'd want to deal with. But you hamstring them like that, there's not much they can do. But, they have been very critical. They've said, President Trump, you're the one that's been doing all this. And, we feel that, you've gone overboard. Well, look at this little chart here. It's actually not a chart, but it's just stats. So check out the stats. So in regards to President Trump, and we don't have the new stuff. We don't have the stuff that because he just took office, but we don't have that. But in regards to how many people were asked to leave or removed, so we'll put it that way for algorithm's sakes, Barack Obama actually has the most, 3.2 million, known as the deporter in chief. So, and it's all how they spin it. It's how they spin the news. Like, oh, President Trump, he's the one, he's the bad one. Well, Barack Obama, they never said a word. So take that and put that in the information category. So another thing here, I don't know if you guys have seen the old movie, so War Games with Matthew Broderick, and it's coming to life in front of our face. OpenAI now partners with U.S. national laboratories on research on nuclear weapon safety. I know, I was reading it, I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. How is this even happening? So just days, I'll read the article for you. It said just days after announcing a version of ChatGPT designed for US government use. I can't see problems with that at all either. OpenAI is further entangling itself with the federal government. The company announced Thursday it would provide approximately 15,000 scientists associated with US national laboratories access to its latest frontier AI models. Well, if you watch some of my last videos, I had talked about one of the versions of OpenAI. I think it was the 01 version, and then they bumped it up to 05, or they kept changing it, through the numbers. But one of them actually tried to protect itself and hide itself. So maybe they're thinking, oh, well, no harm, no foul. We got that fixed. But for any of you guys who have seen this movie,
the computer and turns them into sound.
Shall we play a game?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I think I missed them.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? Yeah. Love to. How about global thermonuclear
there you go.
War?
Wouldn't you prefer a good game of chess?
Later, let's play global thermonuclear war.
Fine.
Fine. And that's how it starts. It goes on to talk in the article a little bit. It mentions here, and this is where it gets revealing, it gets scary, and then it's like they turned out this information with, there's nothing to see here, just please walk on. They said perhaps controversially, OpenAI says its AI models will also enhance work involving nuclear weapons. Yeah, specifically a program focused on reducing the risk. Now, why? They are even concerned right now that the whole idea with AI, that we need to put boundaries on it. We need to put limitations. We need to figure out how to safeguard. But we have fast forward. That was like a month ago. And somehow we fast forward to letting the government use it to work on, yeah, I don't know. I'm digging my bunker. It's coming up soon. And then another thing here, I was doing some research and I found, for those of you, you may know the singer Avery. She has been taking Ozempic, and Ozempic is one of those fat losing drugs, or they have found, I think Ozempic might have been for something else, but they found it had such great properties for helping to lose weight. People have been taking it for that. I think it's become known for that. And for those of you who are thinking about taking any kind of medicine, talk to your doctors, but then also I would ask you, err on the side of caution and err on the side of distrust when it comes to any of these things, because you never know what the long-term effects are. This thing hasn't been out very long, but listen to what she says, what she's dealing with for a drug that she's been on for less than a year.
I just left the doctor's office. I went to get a checkup because I've been off of Ozempic for 2 months now, and I just wanted to see if my body was in better condition, if there were any permanent damages. Kind of in shock right now because I wasn't expecting this, but I guess Ozempic can cause bone density loss, and I didn't think that that would happen to me because I was only on it for a year. But I have significant bone loss. I have osteoporosis and osteopenia, so that I don't know, there's like several of them that I have. I wasn't expecting that, but that's what happens if you use Ozempic for weight loss and you lose too much weight.
So how do you limit that? You exercise and you don't go on that stuff. So that would be definitely something I would tell you. If you were thinking about it, don't do it. It's not worth it. There's so many of those things out there that are just not good for you. So it has been, I don't know, it got a little heavy tonight, and I apologize for that. But that's, when the news rolls that way, you got to roll with it and then throw it out there. So if you're in the hot tub, stay in the hot tub a little bit longer. You may need it. It's okay. So I got a funny for you, a funny to exit out, and this will lighten the mood. This will be the last thing you remember right after you like and subscribe. Appreciate that. But check this out. So for those of you who don't have a VR system, don't get it. They're dangerous.
Vegas.
Should I just run and jump up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, TV.
Alright. Oh, he did?
Oh, why?
Crazy guy did hit with a drill. Now look around.
Watch him. He's out of there. Zombies. In the fetal position. So, there you go. Don't try VR at home. It's dangerous. Or we have to have you sign a waiver. All right, guys. Have a awesome rest of the day or the evening or the morning. Have a blessed day. Stay out of trouble. If you find any good articles or stories, send them to me. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for following me all the way to the end. I appreciate it. Have a blessed one.